Get $50 instantly when you play $5 when you use the promo code. Presented by Prize Picks. Welcome to Light Years. You know, I heard, you could just proclaim you're back when you want to. And the Warriors are, no, I don't know if the Warriors are back, but I fucking needed that win, man. I needed that one real bad. No Steph, no Draymond. I've been drifting into Doomerville, and sometimes you just need a fucking win to feel a little better. And that was a good one.
That was a great one, and that's 15 straight wins against the Houston Rockets now.
I got to throw up a Daryl Morey tweet. Congratulations to the Warriors, right?
Shout out Daryl Morey. But no, I mean, look, I think we do have to start with Andrew Wiggins and Jonathan Kuminga. They were phenomenal tonight. And if you get that type of performance from those two guys more often than not, this is a different basketball team in every way, shape, and form. And that Rockets team is no slouch. They've been playing some great basketball lately. They were coming off a loss to the Kings, and they were on a road trip. So that does make it a little bit easier. But at the same time, a win is a win, and they needed that one tonight. So thank God they were able to get one, because things could have started getting really, really ugly pretty quickly if they don't get that tonight.
Yeah, man. I mean, first off, shout out sitting Steph and Draymond, hiding them for the NBA Cup next week. It's a big one. Yeah, I mean, to me, the story of tonight's game was Jonathan Kuminga. Look, we all know he thinks he's a star, and there are enough flashes that you can get into like a confounding debate about how good can he be and how much of this is him held back by his situation. And in his mind, he thinks the only difference between me and Jalen Green is Jalen Green went to an awful team where he used to take a bunch of shots. And you know what? A night like tonight, hard to not agree with him. It's hard to not agree with him because the Houston Rockets are a good team, and they've built this organically from being a garbage team, bottom of the draft, get a couple of veterans to kind of make them a little more professional. Young guys develop, but it is a very organic thing. It's a little different than getting drafted into a dynasty team with Steph, Draymond, Clay at the time, and like these expectations that you are, just you're ready to play, like you're ready for graduate
ready for serious
school.
basketball.
Yeah, you're ready for graduate school stuff when you're literally a freshman entering your college experience. So, I don't think I necessarily give Kuminga enough leeway all the time for that experience. But like tonight's an example where it's like, everything is about kind of context and situation. And you know what? Would you rather have Kuminga or Jalen Green? I'll put it.
Oh, it's not even Kuminga. It's not even a question. Jalen Green to me was overrated the entire draft process. I just never really saw it,
Sure.
There's the athleticism is obviously there. There's some skill. He can shoot the ball a little bit, but it's like, does it connect to anything meaningful? He's really just like poor man Zach LaVine, which is like, I love
Zach LaVine could shoot the fucking ball. That's just a little bit.
Which is why he's poor man Zach LaVine. You know what I mean? Like kind of moves the same level of athleticism, can get to a shot in a variety of ways, but at the end of the day, does it connect to anything meaningful? And you said he cannot shoot like Zach. Zach is like 40% on like 8 threes a game. That dude can flat out score the ball. But to me, look, I've been very tough on Kuminga too. I think anybody that's listened to the show this past month or so would agree with that. But it's funny. We talked about this after the Hawks game as well. If we could put somebody from the 20 across from him every single game, I think he might be an all-star. but we can't do that. And if we could put somebody from Canada across from Andrew Wiggins every game, shout out Dylan Brooks, I think Wiggins might be an all-star again. But unfortunately, that's not how the NBA works. But, they were amazing tonight. And if again, you're not going to get that type of performance from both of them every night. But if they can bring that type of effort, energy, and obviously scoring punch more often than not, it really does change the trajectory of this team. It takes them from being, they're a fun team, a cute story, to, all right, now we're puncher's chance at a title, even without a move. But the whole thing, especially with any young player like Kuminga, is consistency. So now that's the challenge moving forward. And he has been getting increasingly more consistent with doing the little things. defensive rotations, rebounding. I thought he was spectacular on the boards tonight. But yeah, it's just, can he bring this type of effort 2 times a week instead of once a week?
Yeah, like you mentioned the rebounding, and he finished with 6 rebounds tonight, which is average for a small forward, power forward, whatever you want to call it. But it actually popped to me the same way it did to you, because it wasn't about the quantity of rebounds, it's the quality of rebounds. Yeah. He had multiple in traffic, ones that, effort rebounds, ones that actually extend a play, ones that end a possession, ones that matter, instead of, okay, everyone's already getting back in transition, I'm just going to pad my stats type of rebounds. And like, those were like the little things where it stood out to me a little bit.
Yeah, and I thought there was multiple times too where he was like flying in and like tipping a ball out to somebody else on the team, or like hitting a key box out. And that's actually the stuff that improves your team rebounding. It's not necessarily you getting the rebounds. It's what are you doing on the possessions where you can't quite get the rebound? Are you able to tip it to a teammate? Are you able to like box out Sengun? And he got a foul late there on Sengun on a box out, but like if they're not in the bonus, I'd rather have that than him just giving up an O board and then Sengun gets a putback layup. So it's just kind of that effort and attention and attention to detail that has been the biggest difference, even though he hasn't been scoring as well this year as he did last year. And tonight he had a career highs. So, kudos to him. I think he had 33 points. That's what he finished with.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more the little stuff that has been impressive to me. And now if he can couple the scoring along with that, we're cooking with grease, baby.
It was an ugly game most of the way, and you expect it to be an ugly game when you don't play with Steph and like isn't the most offensive and gifted roster in general. But like, in some ways, I kind of like that win more because it was an ugly game, because it was a show me what you got, Kuminga. Show me how much you want it, Wiggins. Like, are you going to defend? Like, you're not winning 130 to 125, not without Steph. Can you get the win when the score is under 100 points? It was an ugly game, and it showed a lot more to me. The other thing that I really liked with Kuminga was just kind of the relentlessness all night. That was just, he had it going. He just kept going downhill and attacking, and it kind of gets back to your point, which is he has the talent. Is the effort going to be there all the time with him? And loved it. I don't know.
Yeah,
needed just kind of a game where they were going to, I don't want to say get out of the mud, but just kind of like, are you going to just force it a little bit instead of just like wanting it to fall to you because you hit 26 of 43s? Like that's the thing. They didn't shoot the ball particularly amazing tonight. They needed a win where it was just kind of like a little more about like physical force, aggression, effort, instead of just like, oh, Buddy's hot tonight. Oh, Steph's hot, like that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has one of those wins once a week, once every other week, where you just get hot from 3 and you win the game on that. But that's not what tonight was. And the funny thing is, their defense has actually been very good even since the Melton injury. They've been 6th defensively. The issue has actually been the offense. So they still got to figure that part out. But even just to touch on Kuminga a little bit more, he had 2 assists and 3 turnovers tonight, but I was actually pretty encouraged by the decision-making in general. Number one, like you said, constantly getting downhill. But number 2, he made a lot of passes that led to like a bad closeout, or, kind of essentially a hockey assist type of thing where he got downhill, he drew a couple guys, kicks it out, and now we're re-driving. And now there's like the defense is in rotation. Right. And I just thought he did a very good job, especially for as much as he had the ball. Only 3 turnovers is pretty impressive for as much as he handled the ball tonight. So it was just, I mean, to me, that's easily the best game he's played this year on both sides of the ball. And maybe his best game in a Warriors uniform. It was that impressive.
Yeah. And like overall, as a team, just a gritty win. Like the other thing to call out, like they had 9 more rebounds than Houston. They don't win this game if it's a 50-50 rebound game. It's as simple as that. It's I don't need to see Steve Kerr's press conference to know he's going to talk about the extra effort plays and the little things they did to get the win. And he's right. Mm-hmm. This is not a talented enough. This is not the 2017 Warriors where they could throw it around and have 10 more turnovers than their opponent and maybe 5 less rebounds. And it doesn't fucking matter because Steph and KD and Clay are going to go, 38 for 50 from the field and you just don't have a chance, right? Like they do have to win in the margins. And tonight was a big in the margins game, and they haven't done that all year. And you know what? I don't want to give Draymond too much credit for like the cheerleading on the sideline, but like it did kind of mean something to me watching like him and Steph just like really get into it on the side, and the guys on the court actually execute it the entire way too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that has to be a cool moment for JK to see Steph and Draymond embrace him like that, because this obviously hasn't been the year that Kuminga's wanted to have so far. He's been kind of in and out of the lineup, and he hasn't. I think it's the first time he's played more than 30 minutes all game. That speaks to more kind of positional stuff, not wanting him to play the three, and that's a whole different topic of conversation. But yeah, it was even against Denver, they end up losing that game, but like, they had already lost 4 in a row. At the end of that game, the bench was still into the game. I don't think the vibes are the issue right now. They honestly just haven't been making shots down the stretch. Like sometimes it really is a make or miss league. They haven't been getting stops and they haven't been making shots down the stretch. And tonight they were able to get enough stops and make enough shots. And sometimes we overanalyze it a lot.
Yeah.
And this is the issue, that's the issue. And I fall in trap all the time. But sometimes it's as simple as just getting a couple stops, the other team missing some open ones, and then they did a great job of getting downhill late in that game tonight and continuing to get layups.
It's not sometimes. It's actually always that simple. It's like, are you going to hit shots? And if you're not hitting shots, what are you going to do to defer the other team from hitting shots? So like, it's not, it sounds dumb, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, hey, how bad do you want to win? And now we're just getting into every coaching cliche under the sun, but like, give them credit because they did it. They did it tonight. That was a big win. I'm actually very excited to see where Kuminga goes from here, because I feel like he's had a pretty poor start to the first 20 games have been kind of shitty for him. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It's not been kind of what he expected. It's not been what the Warriors expected. It's not been, you're watching it. You're like, he turned down how much money in the offseason? Like that's kind of the overarching thought one would have. And he's starting to roll into it. And honestly, it feels a little bit like last year. Draymond goes down. He has a little more space to play 30 plus minutes and explore himself and just kind of get there. And great stuff happens. So, let's see where it goes from here. But yeah,
doesn't that speak to the need to get a goddamn big man who can shoot on this team, or at least get someone up to 6'8" who can shoot? So like, even if you do have to go to Draymond at the 5 more, at least, Johnson, whoever, it doesn't matter who it is, at least you have a little bit of size around that, where Draymond's not the tallest guy on the floor when you have to go to those smaller lineups, when you want to go a little bit more offensive.
Well, I mean, like with Melton being done for the year, what's their best lineup? Be honest with you.
I mean, it has to be, if they want to go where they should go, it has to be Steph, Kuminga, Wiggins, Draymond, and then I guess pick your poison on the 5th guy. Maybe Podz. I don't know.
The 5th guy's a perimeter guy, though. Like we can argue if it's Podz, if it's Buddy, if it's Moody.
Slow-mo. I'm going to throw slow-mo in there.
Sure, but he's not shooting the ball well enough for that lineup to work as effectively as it should, which gets back to the point. Like, the best version of the Warriors is Draymond as a de facto 5. Kuminga is a slashing 4. Wiggins does his thing. Steph, and you have a 2-man who can shoot the ball. And, I get what you're saying. You're like, if it's a big man who can shoot the ball, then you invert it and you keep positional size. And that's like the dream scenario, shout out Larry Markkinen, right? There's other players out there who can do that. Maybe not as good as him, but that's kind of the point. But I do think, like, you watch this team play over and over again, and you just come back to the same point of, if you want to optimize the most talented players on this roster, what you need to do around them. And this roster is somewhat a game of whack-a-mole to get there.
Exactly. I mean, I have honestly no other thoughts on that, because we go blue, and I'm sure we will. Somebody in the comments just said Miles Turner. I wouldn't mind that, but we'll see how Indiana, does the next couple of months before we talk about that.
Well, it's sure to be good. Well, yeah. I mean, like we can play the fantasy game all day, but we're not going to. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna tell you about the fact that I want some fucking money tonight.
Oh, you did.
Oh, did you like it? Did you like my lineup? Did you like that lineup that I put out there?
I loved it. I loved it.
There we go.
Did Podz hit for you?
No comment. Nah, let's see right now.
He got a ton of rebounds. He
did hit for me. He did hit for me by 1. Fuck yeah. I had the 22.5 and he got 23. So you know what? I'll take the W any way I can get it. I'm trying. Sorry guys. I'm taking a little too long. No, actually, he did not hit for me. Wow.
And he got he had a career high in rebounds tonight too.
Wow, I got burnt. This is in real time. You're watching me lose money. This sucks, dude. This fucking sucks.
The same thing happened to me. Şengün didn't hit his over or his hit more, and neither did Buddy. So
Podz had 23, and 23.5 was the line. So close. Oh, I thought I had 22.5.
This is why. Wow. This is why you got to use the flex play, man. I keep telling you to use the flex play because Jalen had less than 29.5. So you would have hit 2 out of 3, and then you still make some money.
Yeah, but I get greedy. I get greedy. You're right. I could have protected myself. I could put myself in a winning situation, but I got a little greedy. You know, not the first time. Not the first time I've seen green when I should just walk away with my winnings in general. But that's how it goes, guys. Anyway, you can't win it all. I won last game. Did not win tonight, but PrizePicks is the best place to get on the real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions in dollars awarded, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible for all. You just need to pick more or less on 2 players for a shot to win 200x your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks, America's #1 daily sports fantasy app. Sign up today. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. So, guys, it's pretty simple. Download the app, use the code LIGHTYEARS, get $50 instantly after you play, and get $5 on your first lineup. That's code LIGHTYEARS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5.
All right, and I'm going to talk to you guys about Manscaped. With the holidays creeping up faster than your aunt's fruitcake recipe, I've got you. If you want to look sharp for all those festive gatherings and maybe finally win that Best Groomed at Family Dinner award, check out the latest masterpiece from Manscaped, the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver. Trust me, it's like Rudolph your face, guiding you to a smooth, irritation-free shave. I've got an engagement party to go to this weekend. I'm not getting married, not even close to that. But before I've tried out all these razors and I have worked quite how I want it to. But the Chairman Pro's got me covered, man, because I can keep the stubble on with the Skin Safe stubble trimmer. Get the Chairman Pro today and experience the shave that is as smooth as you deserve. Get 20% off plus free shipping when you use the code LIGHTYEARS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code LIGHTYEARS at manscaped.com. Oh, look at that.
It's a good look. It's a good look, my man.
I can't go that clean shaven. I look like a baby if I do.
I mean, come on. I'm not doing it either. So I'm not one to criticize you on that sort of thing. Let's talk Podz for a second. Steve Kerr obviously called him out last post game. The internet's weird with Podz. Not gonna lie, but no comment right now. But
it's getting weird.
Yeah, it's very strange. But what I was gonna say is, Steve called him out, and I think anyone who's reasonable with it would say he's trying to motivate him. He's trying to motivate him in some way. What do you think of Podz' performance tonight in context of his coach calling him out?
I mean, the guy always brings look. I mean, it's gonna sound like a backhanded compliment, but
it's not unfair. But
there's not he always plays so hard. I think he had a career high in rebounds tonight. I'm pretty sure 12 is career high. I think I heard Fitz say that towards the end of the broadcast. But he just cannot make a shot.
That's not a reliable source. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's totally fair. He just cannot make a shot right now, and it really does change everything for him. And you can like, especially late in that fourth quarter, you can see him getting in his own head a little bit. Like he's catching the ball on the perimeter with a late closeout. It's like, dude, you just kind of have to let that one fly, and he doesn't. And then the offense stalls out, and they're struggling to find a good look after that because you've already got the defense in rotation. And if you don't attack that or shoot the open one, now they're able to get reset, right? But he hit one early. He hit a step back early. And I was like, every time he makes three, I'm like, all right, here we go. Tonight's the night. Because he did shoot 38% from three last year. So like he's capable of it, but it's really the catch and shoots that are just, I mean, he had one in the first half. I think semi-transition, he trailed the play, caught it, and I was like, all right, let it fly. And he did. And it barely caught the rim. I was like, who opened the windows? Like it looked like a breeze came through the gym.
I mean,
go ahead.
I was gonna say it is kind of that simple with him right now, right? Like the energy is there, the feel is there. He can. I mean, it's weird to say, but like he can get 10 rebounds if he wants to at any time. Like he's got the feel. He knows where the ball is. He's aggressive enough. He's a little bigger and quicker than he gets credit for on that regard. But in some ways, none of that fucking matters if he can't do anything on offense. And he shot the ball really well last year, and it made me very excited about his potential as a shooter. And are you like me? Are you like wondering if you just got a little too excited about what was ultimately a small sample size of shots? Like I thought he could shoot the ball and he could build upon that 38% we saw last year on, let's be real, it was like 3 a game. It was a small sample, but he kind of like, he played with so much like confidence and moxie and shot the ball. And, you know, in retrospect, if you're being honest with yourself, they were all off the dribble. None of them were. He wasn't like working off of screens. He wasn't shooting the ball like an actual shooter. And now he's in a slump. He's passing up every shot he can get. He's missing rim just way more often than he should, right? Yeah. And I'm wondering if like I think he has touch. I think he can shoot the ball, but like I don't think it's one of those things that like it's happening next game. I think it's one of those things that's happening in 2 years type of things.
Yeah, no, it's a multi-year project at this point, and it might have to be like even a little bit of a shot retool, especially because the release is kind of slow. I definitely got too excited about it, but I was also like looking at the college sample, you know, and he shot 44% from three in college his sophomore year. But even that on the Santa Clara team he was playing on, that's basically all off the dribble. He's just one of those guys who like, it's funny. Like I think of, I mean, obviously he's not James Harden. Later in his career, Harden could not shoot the ball off the catch. He did that all the time in OKC, but he spent so much time just working on off the dribble threes. His off the catch streak kind of left him. And basketball's a weird game, man. I mean, Draymond couldn't shoot the ball for 5 straight years.
His hips were hurting, but no, it makes total sense. Like in Santa Clara, everything ran around him. He was James Harden for Santa Clara, you know, and now, you know, he's in a team where he's not going to be that guy. So it's like, can you shoot in the context of where you don't get the ball a lot, and when you do get it and you're open, you have to put it up, and that seems to be where he's struggling more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, for anybody that's played the game at all at any level, when you're touching the ball every possession and you know that you can basically take any shot that you want, it's easier to make shots in that context than when, you know, you're getting maybe 3 to 4 threes a game and you don't really know when or where they're going to come from. That makes it a lot to be consistent. And that's why, you know, a lot of the guys that are shooters in the league, you hear like a JJ Redick or a Kyle Korver talk about this, or even a guy like Buddy Hield, right? Like, you're expected to just make shots immediately. That's not an easy thing to do. And you have to be such an elite shooter to do that consistently. And Podz is not that yet. He's not that type of shooter. And I don't know if he'll ever be. Might just be the kind of guy where he has to control the ball all game to be a good shooter. But, you know, that's time will tell. We're so far away from that it's impossible to say where he's going to be at in 3, 4, 5, 6 years.
Podz is polarizing in the chat. So I see comments in the chat, which goes, no reason Podz should get more minutes than Moody. And I just want to respond to this because I see this every game. They don't play the same role
at all.
There's no one on this team who can dribble the ball up under pressure outside of Podz and Steph and Draymond. Like, they don't have point. He's Melton literally makes it so that the Melton injury makes it so that Podz has to play 25 minutes a game.
Yes. Before that, he wasn't playing that much. If you go look at the minutes, Melton was taking most of those minutes every time he was healthy. And, I think they had kind of figured out, all right, Podz is kind of a spot player. He's a true backup point guard for this team. But they really don't have anybody else. Like, is Moody going to bring the ball up against pressure? It's going to be a disaster. He's going to slip and fall on his ass half the time. Like, I like Moody as a player, but he's just not that guy. They're two entirely different players. So it's not ideal to have to rely on Podz at this stage of his career this much. I am with the chat in that respect. Like, I'm with everybody that's saying that in the chat. But that's an entirely different issue. That's the organization believing in him too much. That's misevaluating the talent. That's not understanding where he's at in his career. Those are entirely different issues. Like, doing this for a bad team so he can actually control the flow of the action rather than a team that's this good. Like, that's the ideal for him to grow properly, but that's not the situation they're in. So you just got to kind of like take it for what it is, and then we'll see what happens in a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, if they get another ball handler, we can reevaluate this conversation. But as it stands right now, like, I don't know what you do otherwise.
Right.
So,
right.
And other than that, like, hope the shot comes around, because I think that's the only thing that matters for him at this point. Like,
absolutely,
the energy is always going to be there, the feel is going to be there, but he's not Russell Westbrook. He's not going to just finish over the top of everyone to make over for lack of shot. So, like, if he can hit enough shots, it changes the way teams guard him, the geometry, everything. And if he's not, it's what we've seen. So
exactly.
Let's talk Andrew Wiggins real quick.
Yeah, let's do it. You want to start, or you want me to start? That's my guy.
You can go first.
That's my guy. I mean, this is just on the whole now. This is the best version we've seen of Andrew Wiggins since the championship season. All right. I mean, I guess before he had the groin injury and then obviously missed 2 months. But he has a different level of aggression and confidence. And a lot of it, like a lot of guys, just comes and goes with his shot. But I think you can tell that he spent a lot of time in the gym this summer, where that might have not necessarily been the case the last couple of summers. And he looks confident in his shot. 2 4-point plays tonight. I don't know if he made the free throws. He probably didn't. That's an entirely different issue with this team. But he looks incredibly confident, and he's trying to get downhill, and with those opportunities present themselves, he's never going to be a great downhill guy, just because the handle is so limited, and you can really see it. Like, a couple times, like Fred VanVleet or Dylan Brooks he pressured him, and he couldn't do anything against that type of pressure. But that's why he's better served as like a third or fourth option. But for what this team is asking him to do, he's performing admirably, in my opinion, because they're asking too much of him on offense, but he's giving them that most nights at this point. So I just hope he can continue to play like this, and I hope he stays healthy, and we don't have some of the same off the court issues pop up again.
I'm going to give him one compliment, which I wasn't. I was skeptical would come around on this. It's not about effort, and it's not about rebounding. It's the motherfucker can shoot the shit out of the ball.
Yeah,
I always thought he could shoot the ball. I did not think he could shoot the ball at this level. And like, is he a better shooter than Mikal Bridges? Yes.
At this point, yes, not even a question. And I never thought I'd say that 2 years ago. Is
he a better shooter than OG Anunoby? Yeah,
I think so. I think it's more varied. I think he can get it off the dribble a little bit better than OG. Spot up, I think it's splitting hairs, but off the dribble, I definitely can.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at with it, which is like, those were things I was not prepared to say in the past. He is shooting it with such confidence, and like shooting it about as well as anyone who's not like a textbook, I operate off screens, I'm known as a shooter, can shoot
totally.
It. Like, I know he's at what 42% of the season. I'm sure that'll probably get back down to 39-40% at the end of the day, but it's like it's the above the break threes. It's the coming off of a dribble handoff and I can hit this shot type of threes. And like, yes, again, he's not guarded like he's Klay Thompson, but like, I mean, come on, man. There's like 4 players in the history of the NBA who get guarded like that. So that's not the point. The point is he's such a better shooter than I probably ever gave him credit for in general. And he's got confidence with it, and maybe he's healthier than he was in the past. And I think all of that adds up. And that is a big part of it, because if he defends and he can shoot the ball, like, he's a motherfucker. He's a very, very impactful player, and everything else in his game, like, it can wax and wane. Like, okay, so he's a little vapid passing the ball here and there. That's fine. If he's shooting the ball well and he's defending, like, he's an impact player every night. And that's kind of been the case for most of the season. And I think that's it's cool to call out. More than anything, I just want to say I just didn't think he could shoot it this well.
Yeah. One of the better 3-and-D guys in the league when he's locked in and he's going well. But he's like 3 like, and this is what teams are really starting to look for out of their 3-and-D type of players. Can you give a little bit more than that? Right? Like, I think gone are the days of like a Robert Covington type 3-and-D player where it's like literally just defense and shooting 3-pointers and you can't dribble or do anything else. Wiggins can get downhill off a closeout.
Well, it's also just to your point, it's the 3 and the 3-and-D thing. It means more than just catching it with your feet set.
Yes.
It means, can you get it coming off of a dribble handoff? Can you make a 3 in a scramble action? Like, I'm not, like, obviously, like, the dream scenario is like you run off of 3 drag screens, like your buddy Healed, and you catch it and you shoot it, and everyone's like, your feet are all over the place and that sort of thing. But it's just like, can you do it with any sort of variance? Because if all you're doing is like, well, my feet are set, and if I have 4 seconds, I can hit it. Like, yeah, that's not going to work. Like, defenses are too good to close that out.
Yep. And then you don't have any other options. You don't have any like counters to that. But like I said, he can post up a little bit, and he can have a closeout if the closeout's bad. So he like I said, when he's locked in, he's one of the best 3-and-D guys in the league. And that goes without being said. You just like to build a roster where he doesn't have to be your second option. So
yes. That would be the ideal scenario. That would be the ideal scenario. Guys, let me tell you about Body Spec real quick. You guys ready to kickstart your fitness journey? Whether you're an athlete, a fitness enthusiast, or just getting ready to get back into shape, Body Spec has you covered. For less than the price of a haircut, you can get a DEXA scan, the world's most accurate body composition scan. So what's a DEXA scan? It's a good question, by the way. So the most obvious thing is like your body fat composition. But beyond that, it's a highly accurate method of measuring other aspects of your body composition. So bone density, lean muscle mass, visceral fat, just like all those things you start concerning yourself about the older you get. And the thing that's really cool about Body Spec is they've made it affordable. This is typically the type of thing that was reserved for Warriors players, for,
Niners players.
Yeah, exactly. For pro athletes. And, it costs a few $100s. With Body Spec and the code LightYears45, you can get a DEXA scan for only $45. So guys, click the link in the bio, bodyspec.com, LightYears45, get a DEXA scan for $45. Kickstart your fitness journey.
All right, and here we got Via. Need a break from the crowded holiday stores and endless gift list? Restore your zen and embrace the natural power of hemp this holiday season with Via. Whether you're enjoying a quiet evening at home or embracing the festive cheer, Via's premium THC gummies and vapes and other products will help you find the perfect balance this holiday season. Via products are crafted with the highest quality hemp sourced from trusted, independently owned American farms. And the best part, Via legally ships to nearly all states in the U.S. in discreet packaging directly to your door with a worry-free guarantee. No medical card required. So I haven't been sleeping well this week, and Via has these Zen CBD gummies that also have passion flower and L-theanine, which helps support like relaxation and just sleepiness in general. So I'm definitely going to pop a couple of those and knock out and try to like 8 or 9 hours of sleep. So if you're 21 plus, check out our link to Via's website in the description and use code LightYears for 15% off. Once again, the link is in the description to the website. Yep. And use the code LightYears for 15% off.
Oh, are we back?
So we are back, but something, I've kind of observed about, I think, as teams have shot more threes, right? It's become harder to defend. The teams that the Warriors really struggle to stop consistently are the teams that shoot a ton of threes at high volume. When they can scheme it up and they can junk it up and they can kind of leave a guy open like they can with a team like the Rockets, they still are a super elite defense, and they've been very good all year defensively. But where they struggle, and I think this comes into play, is kind of the lack of length and athleticism they have on their roster. They struggle to cover all areas of the floor when teams have 5 guys that can just space it out and shoot. So, and this is, I think, what it really shows is like how good of a coach Kerr is. If you give him, especially defensively now, if you give him one, he knows exactly how to take advantage of that and essentially junk up your entire offense. But if you have 5 guys who can shoot, it makes it so difficult to stop if you don't have the proper personnel. So go ahead.
So I have a question for you. Is that a lack of physical tools, or is that a lack of IQ?
I mean, I think
the lame answer is it's both, but yes. But
yeah.
Do you think the more contributing factor is they lack, a bunch of 6'9" guys who move like 6'2" guys, like the Wolves, like having a bunch of Jaden McDaniels,
sure.
Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Ant, those type of guys. Shout out, we're playing them tomorrow. Yep. Or do you think it's because they lack guys who just read the play beforehand and break it up beforehand?
I mean, for the way that Kerr wants to defend, I think it's probably the lack of IQ. And that's where it would be nice to play a guy like Slow-Mo more, but you just can't with the lack of kind of front court shooting and overall shooting that this team has. If we've talked about it before, if Slow-Mo could shoot, he'd be a 30 to 40 million a year player. But
sure.
Yeah, I mean, the reason that 2022 team was so good, it actually wasn't their athleticism. It was how quickly all those guys read the play. Able to close gaps before they were even there. And I think, I mean, even since then, the league has progressed a little bit in terms of the emphasis on shooting and how many threes teams are taking per game and how much 5 out is being played. So, yeah, I mean, if you give me a choice, I think me personally, I'm always going to go with guys who have a little bit higher basketball IQ, because I think that plays better late in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Is he talking about my interneter?
Yes. You're white Andy.
Okay. I'm white Andy, I guess. I guess I'm glitchy tonight. But the point is, I'd rather, like, me personally, I'm always going to take the higher IQ, because I think that matters more late in the playoffs. I think you can get by with just athleticism for so long, but eventually you run into a smarter, more disciplined team. And that's usually what ends up winning. And obviously the ideal is you have both. That's what the Boston Celtics are. That's what the Oklahoma City Thunder are. They're athletic and they're super smart. So if you can find both, that's the ideal. But if you're asking me to choose one of the two, it's always going to be the IQ for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they thought they had with Melton.
Right.
Super high IQ player, great defender, longer and bigger than you kind of think he is, and can play both ends of the floor. Just like my big actual takeaway from this NBA season is those guys are underrated. They still do not get enough credit for how much value they provide for winning. Like the Drew Holiday type, like it sounds super hipster, and it is fucking super hipster to say, but like they're still so underrated in the context of every team taking 40 to 50 threes and wanting to space you out. Having guys who can close that out and stop it, and then B, have the IQ to move around all the time. Like, I think that's more valuable than a rim protector. I really do think that's more valuable in 2024 than a rim protector.
Yep. I agree with you. I do. Give me length and IQ over, I guess, just speed and athleticism, but it all matters at the end of the day. But I think that's where they find problems, is against these teams that can just space the floor like crazy.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. Like Houston's an admirable team. They're building something. I like the way they play and the way they kind of fight, but there's still a lot of like youth to them. They're not going to outthink you.
Yeah.
It's going to be more about like they're just going to try to overwhelm you in many ways. And to your point, like that plays to the Warriors' favor, even without Steph and Draymond. It plays to the Warriors' favor of execution-based basketball.
Totally.
All right, I said we get out of here. I appreciate it. We got a big win. Nice evening. Everyone will be back tomorrow. Appreciate you.